And for those of you who weren't aware of the metaphor here, he says, those of you that we don't run off, we're going to try to make you quit. He told his team in December. Jesus Christ, man, he's a savage. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master of Football, back at it again. Happy Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on everything college football, pro football, Madden, EA, college football, NFL draft, anything related to that, hit the red subscribe button. You'll not be disappointed. Also, the like button too. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Boy, I tell you what, if you go on Twitter right now, it is absolutely shocking how many people are shocked at what's happening in Colorado now. I know that's kind of crazy here, but it's just one of those things where, and again, I understand that, negative events drive media more than positive events do, blah, 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 that whole situation, the negativity bias that we all have going on at Colorado right now, because, man, there is unprecedented change at this point. I know that most of it is it's mostly done for now, but I want to go over the sheer impact of what has happened here, because the Colorado Buffaloes in 2023 will look almost nothing like the Colorado Buffaloes in 2022. So again, we want to talk about that shock, because I'm a little perplexed as how shocked people are at this whole situation, just because, first, I'm going to explain it here in a second, but I've got a couple things here I want to hit in this video. First one, I want to go over what everybody is so shocked about. What's the justification for these shocking moves, and then where this is headed, and then we're also going to have one final question going forward. So let's get into this shocking, I can't say shocking, I've said shock like 16 times, shocking news. This was a tweet over here in late April here. Sports Center, he says, Deion said this back in December. Monday, 18 Colorado players entered the transfer portal. That's in one single day. He says, I'm bringing my luggage with me, and it's Louis. Go ahead and jump in that portal. It's rather crazy the coach is just saying that straight up right now. This article here on Yahoo was from May 1st, and it basically talks about the transfer exodus at Colorado is unprecedented in the portal area. And we truly are seeing absolute history at this point. And again, whether or not it's good or bad history, we'll get into that in here a second. From Ralph D. Russo, he says, Deion Sanders arrived at Colorado in December with much fanfare and a blunt message after the Buffaloes, who had just endured a 1-11 season under the previous coaching regime. Be ready to transfer. The new head coach told them in his first meeting, we got a few positions already taken care of because I'm bringing my own luggage with me, and it's Louis, okay? Does Louis Vuitton sell in bulk? Colorado has had a total of, listen, say these with me, 52 scholarship players enter the transfer portal in the 5 months since the Pro Football Hall of Famer was hired away from Jackson State. The pace picked up rapidly last month. The spring transfer period in college football closed Sunday night, and again, so there's only a certain window there when you can join and not. It says that they closed with 43 scholarship players, the equivalent of half the roster from Sanders' program, having entered the portal since more than 40,000 fans showed up at Folsom Field in Boulder for Colorado spring game on April 15th. It is unprecedented turnover in this new area of loosened transfer rules, and almost double that of the total of the next largest number of players entering the portal among the 11 Power 5 programs with a new head coach. So you see that situation there. I mean, so they had the game, and a couple of people are hypothesizing here that basically that spring game, they had 40,000 people show up. That was the tape they're going to have those players use of the 43 players that transferred. They're using that tape to go out there and try and get scholarships out there. So it's one of those things where I kind of see it, you kind of see where he's going from, but also at the same time, I mean, 43 players, this is ridiculous. This article continues here. It says, at Colorado, 9 scholarship players went into the portal between when Sanders was hired and the start of this transfer period. I didn't kick them out. They walked out, talking about those 9, he told reporters after the spring game. But he made clear the next wave of players heading into the portal would include some players being pushed out of the program. So those 43, he says here, we've got to make some decisions. That's going to be on me now. As the NCAA defends itself against a federal lawsuit by the National Labor Relations Board, blah, 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 Sanders' roster flip has given fresh ammunition to those trying to dismantle the collegiate amateurism model. Sanders is in the process of firing half of his team, kicking them off scholarships because they aren't performing. That's Employment Senator Chris Murphy, D. Connecticut, said, dude, whatever, I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but that's how much he is hitting so hard at what he's trying to do with the Colorado Buffaloes. Even senators thousands of miles away are talking about it. This article says here, by the time Sanders is done, he could have more than 70 new players on the roster. According to 247 Sports, Colorado already has 35 portal transfers signed or committed to go with its signing class of 20 high school recruits and junior college transfers. And a guy I like here on Twitter, he's Joe Pompliano. He says Deion Sanders has sent 40-plus kids to the transfer portal since arriving at Colorado in December. Only 20 of the 83 scholarship players remain, and the entire Colorado roster has been revamped with free agents, transfer portal guys. College football sure doesn't feel like an amateur sport anymore. And again, I'm not going to get into the politics of that, but you can see how much of an impact that a Bitcoin guy is really hitting the situation hard. And there's more articles that are talking about the sheer veracity of what he's doing at Colorado. It says Deion Sanders is ruthless with Colorado football. Surely you're not surprised. From Blake Topmeyer. Comes down here and it says Deion Sanders warned he'd be ruthless. And by shuttling droves of his inherited players into the transfer portal, the first-year Colorado football coach is doing what he promised. The unconcealed way Sanders cut players after Colorado's spring game is equal parts jarring and refreshingly honest. I actually appreciate the way he's taking it here. The blowback endured for cutting scholarship players 4 months before the season will quiet down. Again, because there's plenty of Twitter. If you want to find some negativity, Deion Sanders, transfer portal, because there's plenty of positive perspectives, negative perspectives. It's just a ton of people talking about it. Most of the blowback is actually coming from the media here and some politicians too. But let's continue on here. It says Sanders will be judged by the results of the sweeping overhaul he vowed to engineer. For years, coaches have nudged scholarship players off rosters to clean room for transfers or recruits. Within the industry, this roster runoff is known as processing a player. Coaches often process a player covertly. A coach may quietly inform an underperforming player that they don't factor into the team's plans, explaining that the player would be wise to consider a transfer. Then the player announcing he's transferring as if it's his idea. That the player got processed stays quiet. This allows a coach to avoid public backfire while the player maintains the ruse that he's transferring of his own choice. So again, that's one of those things where most coaches will do it that way. Deion has decided to do it a little bit different way. Coach Prime doesn't do understated, though. He's not sheepish. He welcomes the attention his roster purge spurred. Sanders, shortly after Colorado hired him from Jackson State, declared he was bringing his own luggage. And you guys know it for the third time in this video, it's Louis. And for those of you who weren't aware of the metaphor here, he says, those of you that we don't run off, we're going to try to make you quit. He told his team in December. Jesus Christ, man, he's a savage. Sanders has stripped bare the phony facade of amateurism to reveal what most players know to be true. College football is big business. And again, you can see the connection here. They're trying to make them employees, and this and that. All of the media members are trying to do this. There's politicians. There's a ton of strings being pulled in different directions to try and steer this narrative in certain directions. Again, I'll get into what I think is going on and how I think that everybody's kind of, dovetailing off of this whole situation. When it comes down here and the article continues, it says Deion Sanders' approach is a gamble. Sanders' bounty comes at a cost. Since his hire, 53 Buffaloes entered the transfer portal, according to On3.com. That includes 30 departures since April 22nd spring game. Not all those players were cut, but many were. Players know the drill. Coaches may speak of fostering a family atmosphere, but that loosely translates to building a winning culture that features talented players who make a coach look good. By the time Sanders reassembles his roster, more than 80% of Colorado's scholarship players may be newcomers. So you can see here the fact that all of these moves and all of the swift action and the brutal honesty he has is really ruffling a lot of feathers, especially with a lot of media members, especially with a lot of politicians who are kind of leaning towards let's make them unionized employees, blah, 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 get our tentacles in there and all that whole situation. I just think it's gross. It's politics. I don't want to talk about it. Now we need to talk about the justification for why this is happening. And again, I said it very, very quickly there, but I want to make sure that we give precedent to what's going on here. Oh my gosh, there's so much change. There's so much this. He's such a savage with the team, blah, 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 blah. Remember what this team did last year. Oh yeah, that would be loss, 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 loss. And then they had a win. After a bye week at home to a 4-win team, it took them overtime to do. And then loss, 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 loss. 1-11, 1 win at home after a bye week against a 4-win team that took them overtime to do so. This team was trash. He needed to do this. He is totally justified in how swift and, quite frankly, how honest he is with what he's doing. And here's the secret. So far, it's kind of working. First of all, we know that he is absolutely dominating the transfer portal team rankings right now. And again, you see that 1 5-star, a couple 4-stars. He's got the highest rated class in the country. That in addition to a good recruiting class too. So the recruiting class here, and again, it's not in the top 5, but if you come down here, they are currently at the 30th spot. Again, ahead of Baylor, Mizzou, Kansas State, Kentucky. They're over here at 30 with 1 5-star and 3 4-stars. Pretty good class. Come over to that class to see what we had here. So a couple of these guys, these 19 right here are high schoolers. So we see the number 1 corner in the country, number 13 player in the country here. We come down here, and again, the Isaiah Jada, which is a offensive tackle, who's a JUCO guy. He's the number 24 JUCO tackle in the country. You know, we see Jack Wiltie, who's the number 54 JUCO player in the country. He's an interior offensive lineman. So again, you got a couple guys there who are decent, but for the most part, he's got top flight corner, 2 JUCO linemen, but where he did his real damage is down here. So we see Savell Smalls, former 5-star, one of the top players in the country when he came out from Washington to Colorado. 4-star Tavares Dawson, wide receiver from Auburn to Colorado. Marion Cooper from Florida State, 4-star to Colorado. Jacquez Robinson, 4-star from Alabama to Colorado. You know, we could keep on going here. Brendan Gant, one of the top players in the country from Florida State to Colorado. We come down here, and again, we all the way down here to the bottom. We forget here our dear friend Travis Hunter, who's a corner / wide receiver, who was at Jackson State, former number 1 top 5 player in the country from Jackson State to Colorado. And then we all remember here the quarterback here, his son Shadir Sanders, former top 300 player from Jackson State to Colorado. And my boy Pump, he wanted to make sure he gave credit where credit was due. Colorado spring game averaged 551,000 viewers on ESPN. That's a 92% increase year over year, and its network's second most watched spring game since 2016. That's the Deion effect. So like I said at the beginning, we have one question to ask here. Is this gamble going to pay off? You can see the fact that 53 players enter the transfer portal. He's just pushed those players out. Almost 80, potentially 80% of his roster is going to be new players from the year before. However, we're thinking about this, okay? 1-11, and the 1 win was against a 4-win team at home after a bye game, in which it took them overtime to do so. But he's bringing in 5-stars, 4-stars, top flight quarterbacks, receivers, edge rushers. He's got potentially 4 or 5 top 10 players in the country at their positions during their recruiting classes who are coming into Colorado Buffaloes. I'm telling you right now, he's savage, he's honest, a little bit ruthless, but it's needed because Colorado in 2022 was hot garbage. All right, guys, get in the comments right now. Tell me what you think about this situation. What do you think's happening with Colorado? I think they're going to turn it around. Now, again, do I think they're going to do what USC did, where they were a 4-win team and they almost went to the CFP? I don't know about that, but I do know, again, 1-11. Dude, 7-5, 8-4 is not unheard of, especially when you think about 5-star, 4-star, 5-star, 4-star, 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 all that kind of stuff. They've got a lot of potential to do so. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. It's it for me, guys. I'll see you guys later. I am out.